Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Uphoff. I am the president and CEO of Thomas, and I want to thank you for so many of you joining us this afternoon for a webinar to help you understand how Thomas can provide access for, particularly right now, COVID-19 supplies and much more. I'm joined today by my colleague, Kathy Ma, who's also our Director of User Acquisition. Before we begin, just a bit of housekeeping here. As many of us are learning, the internet is starting to get a bit overloaded these days, and sometimes Wi-Fi systems act up. So indeed, if that happens, please be patient with us if Wi-Fi signals or sound quality shift around a little bit. Feel free to submit your questions at any time. We're going to be addressing all the questions we get at the end. And yes, we will be circulating a copy of the presentation at the end, and it'll have all of the information that we covered today, all the resources. So feel free to just engage with the presentation. No need to take notes because we'll distribute all that at the end. I'm the grinny fella on the left there, and it's been my honor to be with Thomas for the last 3.5 years. This is our 122nd year in business. I've had a great career in business information and thrilled to be a part of a company that is able to serve industry, particularly at this critical time. And as I said before, I'm joined by my colleague, Kathy Ma. Kathy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. So this is Kathy. I have been working in tech and media for the last 15 years, from Yahoo to being a sociologist from Wikipedia. But I have to say, Thomas is one of the most amazing companies I've ever worked for. Not to really, sing our own praises, only because of the amazing depth of content and data we have. My job here is to turn that into actionable tools for you to help you make your job easier. So I'm very honored to share what we've built for you today.
Thanks, Kathy. And for those that may not know everything about Thomas, I mentioned this is our 122nd year in business. Believe it or not, we didn't start out as an internet platform company, but that's what we are today. You're going to hear us reference the Supplier network, and everything that we do, all of our products and services are available through thomasnet.com. And in addition to that major platform, we have Thomas Industrial Marketing, and that provides marketing services for industrial product or manufacturing service companies to reach, engage, and sell to buyers in the marketplace. We have Thomas Product Data Solutions, which produces sophisticated CAD and building information modeling files and syndicates those out to engineers, procurement professionals, and architects on behalf of product OEMs. And then our most recent launch, if you will, of a business unit is called Thomas Industrial Data. We have over 1 million active registered users on thomasnet.com. To put that into perspective, you can use the platform without registering. What registering enables, though, is over 200 individual filters that allow you to find and configure the data sets to find exactly what you're looking for. As the logos on the screen would indicate, we have a very large audience of Fortune 100, very large companies. At the same time, we have a long tail also of small to medium buyers that are constantly sourcing products and services on thomasnet.com. What they're sourcing is well over 500,000 plus suppliers on thomasnet.com. So we have a couple of proprietary ways that we categorize and configure not only the suppliers, but all of the data in and around supplier categories. So right now we have over 70,000 individual categories. It literally is an A to Z. We have a 90,000 point taxonomy, and what it allows us to do is help buyers find exactly what they're looking for and make sure that suppliers can connect with buyers who have a high propensity to do business with that particular type of supplier and their capabilities. We specialize primarily in and around direct spend, but we also have a broad coverage of indirect spend and that into suppliers. And for those that may be less familiar with the terminology, direct spend would be things like mechanical components, electrical components, custom manufacturing services. Indirect spend, things like safety equipment, supplies, material handling equipment, laboratory equipment. Boy, you're seeing a lot of sourcing in these categories right now. And then suppliers, whether they're OEM companies selling direct or through distributors, and then distributors, custom manufacturers, and service companies themselves. You'll see a reference at the top of the slide to 70,000 daily users. We are a platform that gets used every 2 seconds. An industrial buyer is evaluating a product or service, supplier, I should say, on thomasnet.com. We're actually seeing that lift right now. And so 70 is closer to about 80,000 sourcing sessions a day right now. So given all of the sourcing activity that happens on Thomasnet, it gives us this remarkable window into the industrial economy. And I want to give you something that we saw through this window starting in the late fourth quarter, early first quarter of the year that led us to creating what we're going to demonstrate today, and hopefully will be a great resource for you to be able to source, particularly in and around COVID-19 response suppliers. The COVID response system that we're going to demonstrate in just a few minutes came by looking at the ongoing sourcing and trend data. And what we could see starting in the late fourth quarter into the first quarter of 2020, and as you can see on the slide, we started to see early sourcing increasing. So this is not from zero to these, this is the growth of sourcing in these categories. And what we were seeing really just blew us away. Now, it became obvious as the world started to learn about this pandemic spreading across the globe, but we saw it coming early, and we could see these significant surges in what the world now knows what the acronym PPE stands for, of personal protection equipment, and what we would consider to be COVID-19 sourcing products, services, and materials. And you can see where this started, what these top 10 were around, but you could see a huge lift in masks, sanitizers, paper, fabric, and cloth. What that did was force us to look at this very rapidly and realize this was going to sweep across the globe, and we needed to do something to help organizations and individuals source critical COVID-19 suppliers. But we also realized that there were manufacturers. We started to get emails and phone calls from thousands of manufacturers who said they wanted to help and they had capacity but didn't currently make PPE equipment and supplies. So what we did is put out a call for North American COVID-19 response suppliers. And I will tell you, we made the decision, I've lost count now of this is, I guess, about 3 weeks ago now. We made the decision to do this on a Friday evening, and we were blown away by how rapidly people engaged with this. Within the first 3 weeks, we've had over 1,400 manufacturers who volunteered and registered to provide capacity to make PPE products and services. They are joined by nearly 10,000 PPE suppliers that were already on the thomasnet.com platform. What we then did is have our team of over 100 expert analysts and engineers work to validate and categorize COVID-19 supplier availability and capacity. And yes, boy, I get emotional looking at this picture because it was taken long before that we all went to remote work, but so proud of what this company has been able to do to pivot on a dime to be able to validate these critical suppliers, and as importantly, get some of these suppliers to be able to shift capacity around to fulfill the need for these products and services at this unique time. For those that are using Thomasnet and those that are about to, what you'll learn is that we have a badging system. So to the far right is our newest badge, which identifies COVID-19 response suppliers. And then you'll also see a reference to a Thomas registered and Thomas verified. What these badging mean is that that team has validated, right, that these particular suppliers have the products, the services, the capabilities, and the certifications that are listed. So this is a stamp of approval, if you will, that these are suppliers that we've actually validated all of what they do. And so we've taken A lot of pride in being able to provide that, but the newest badge that we created was around COVID-19 response suppliers, purely with the idea of speeding your ability to find exactly the type of supplier and understand that that information about what they can now provide has been validated. As we built this Thomas COVID-19 response platform, if you will, within ThomasNet, we are seeing explosive growth across categories. And so obvious would be personal protection equipment, ripped from the headlines. All of us know how critical that is. But boy, if you look at all the other products and services that are critical at a time like this, things like disinfectant and soap and sanitizers, not just ventilators. A lot of people are talking about ventilators, but companies are pivoting and spinning around, and what they're looking for is getting parts to build ventilators. Hospital equipment of all sorts, even down to things like beds and traditional hospital supplies are in short supply right now. Medical consumables, medical manufacturing, we're seeing a huge lift there, and then all the way through to things like hazardous waste equipment, supplies, and services. The result is a real-time database of COVID-19 response suppliers. These suppliers are identified by the COVID response badging that I mentioned earlier, and in addition, as Kathy will demonstrate in a minute, there's also an incremental filter that you as a user can use this filter to find exactly the type of supplier that you might be looking for at this critical point in time. One of the unique IP, if you will, one of our proprietary recipes is the way that we're able to structure data. So data is meaningless unless you can have it structured in a way that allows you to make an informed decision around a product or a supplier in the way that you need to make a professional decision. And so what you'll see as you start to use ThomasNet is the data is not just a simple connection to a supplier that might fill a criteria. It is a remarkably structured data set down to things like location, location served, shipping radius, firmographic data, qualifications, and certifications. So with that, I'm going to pass the baton to my colleague, Kathy, who's going to take you through a bit of a tutorial on how to source in real time. And as I do, I want to emphasize something, particularly for the folks that might be new to Thomas. Everything we are showing you is free. So, and while we don't mandate registration, we encourage it because what registration does is allow you to unlock all the power of these filters to find exactly what you're looking for. So to give an emphasis here, this platform is 100% free to the user. Kathy?
Thank you, Tony. So allow me to spend the next 15 minutes to talk to you about the power of thomasnet.com. On ThomasNet, you can do three things. You can search, evaluate, and connect with suppliers that can fulfill your business needs. With search, there are amazing search filters with advanced filters based on the data points I'm going to go through with you in a minute. You can also shortlist and export the data of relevant suppliers through the process. In addition, you can request multiple quotes or information from the suppliers that you have added to your shortlist. So step one, let's talk about how you can search on thomasnet.com. Now let's use the COVID-19 example. Say you've been tasked to source for your organization on relevant supplies. Within Thomas, you can go onto their homepage and type in COVID-19, which will take you to this amazing database of all COVID-19 validated suppliers from our content analyst team. Now, I want to take the next few minutes to talk to you about the structure of this result page. People who are familiar with Thomas would know that we do that for all categories, from machining to bearings to any materials and supplies you need. With every single supplier in the search result, you will see that we have amazing structured data with each supplier search results. Using this example, you can see that All Metal Sales Inc., they're based in Ohio. They are a distributor. You can see the revenue range. They are just between $25 to $50 million, founded in 1999, and employed up to 49 staff. So why are these data points important? Right now, a lot of people are pivoting. A lot of people are claiming that they have the capabilities to provide services and supply for COVID-19. As someone who sources for your organization, we try to give you the most important data points for you to assess, how long have these companies been around, how close they are to you. So all these data points are really essential. And when you look at the description of each of these COVID-19 response suppliers, rest assured that our content analyst team actually customized the description of each of these manufacturers for you as well. Let's say, okay, Kath, this is a great list, but I'm looking for a specific type of product. So you actually can use the top right-hand corner. There's a search within results options. Let's use N95 respirators. A lot of us are actually looking for that as a resource. You can type the keyword in, click the search button, and within seconds, you will see that we filter all the suppliers to N95 respirators suppliers. As you can see, the number right now, there are 12 suppliers, but since we captured the screen to now, there's been hundreds more suppliers on our platform that are N95 suppliers as well. So another question you may have is, hey, I'm really interested in just, sorting all of these manufacturers based on the data points you just covered in previous slides. You can do that too with a sort by button on the top right-hand corner of the results. You can sort by various firmographic data points. When you click the button, you can sort by company size, revenue range, and year founded. Say you may be interested in looking for a company that has been established for over a certain number of years, just so you can trust them more. That's an option for you as well. What about, you're thinking that, hey, the Thomas verified and Thomas registered badges gives me that extra sense of confidence. Sure, you can also click and filter your search results with those validation criteria, but we don't stop there. A lot of you may be looking for specific quality certifications, say FDA approved or ISO certificates, or if you search for the government and big enough organizations, you might have your diversity quota that you have to fill. So we actually have structured data for those two data points as well. Let's look at how it works with real demos. Let's say I'm looking for COVID-19 response suppliers that actually has a veteran-owned status. You can scroll down on the desktop view of our website, and you can find a veteran-owned filter, check the box, and we do the work for you. So within this list, you can scroll down and look at the fact that we link to the veteran-owned web page of this particular company, QSM. Our content team actually did the research for you, and we directly link to the most relevant web page of that website for you to see that they are ISO 9001 certified, and also they self-proclaim to be a veteran-owned and operated business on their website. So we take that research work away from you during this time of need. Not to mention, this is not just for COVID-19 businesses. We're doing that across all categories on thomasnet.com. Second example, say, hey, you may be looking for a surgical mask supplier that actually has the AS900C certificate for their factory. Again, you can go to the left-hand side, find the right certificate filter that you're looking for, check the box, and we have the complete list of manufacturers, and you can go in to look at the profile, click to even download their certificate of registration for you to store into your local procurement system. So you're like, Kathy, this is great. Now I have a list of people that I know that have been around for a long time, and that they have the certificates or ownership status that I need for my sourcing requirements. But this is a really critical time, and I need to find companies that are closest to me to reduce risk and friction. So you actually can put your postcode into our search within feature. Once you put the postcode in, you can filter it to as close as 50 miles to hundreds of miles away. And we don't stop there. If you scroll down to all the way to the left-hand side of our search results, you will see the locations served option for you. If you're searching for products from multiple factories, I was talking to a pet manufacturer yesterday. They are based in Nebraska, but they have factories in Florida. They actually can then go to the location served button and opt for suppliers that serve in those two locations. We include Canada and America's states and provinces in this search result option. So I spent the last 10 minutes sharing all the amazing search filters and data points with you. I would like to give you some more additional tools for you to evaluate all these suppliers that you just found in the previous step. So let's take a deep look into company information listed on our supplier search results. Using Electro Soft Ink as an example, you see that they are COVID-19 verified supplier. And you can see that the description of this company is not generic. Our content analyst team actually talked to these manufacturers to make sure we know exactly what capabilities they see themselves in serving for the community. So this example shows you that they can help with ventilator companies by building printed circuit boards, cables, and even, electromechanical assembly of the entire unit. In addition, there are a lot of structured data points underneath the paragraph. So let me spend the next 2 minutes talking through what these icons are for. So the first icon that looks like a certificate is indeed a button for you to click through so that you can download the company's certificate. Sometimes it could be ITAR, it could be the ISO certificate that I just demonstrated in previous slides. And also, there's like a little escape button. This actually shows you when you click this button, you will be taken to the exact web page that describes the information about the certificate and registration that our content analyst team went into painstaking details to ensure that we'll save you that many clicks in looking for that information yourself. And when you see like a circle star, usually it means that a third-party organization, say SBA, actually had on their website reporting the statuses of these companies. So for this example, if you click through to the veteran-owned link, you will be able to see when the veteran-owned certificate lasts or expires on the SBA website. And finally, sometimes you will see a little icon. They include self-reported information that suppliers gave us for us to add to their supplier profiles. So those are really cool ways for you to review a profile of a company. In addition, once you click through to look at these company profiles, you will see a lot more in-depth results. Here you can see this company and their COVID-19 categories, including the materials they can supply, and also the fact that they're Thomas registered gives you that extra sense of confidence that they are a supplier that we extra validated for you. Say if you have questions that you want to contact Vanguard products with, you can ask the question here, or you can even just go ahead and click the green button and request quotes directly within thomasnet.com. So what about you want to compare multiple suppliers? So you can do that too in the search results. On the top right-hand corner of every supplier search result, you can select up to 5 suppliers. And once you click the compare button, we actually take you to an amazing table. Let's delve a little bit deeper. Let's delve a little bit deeper and look at the table together. With this table, you can see that I've picked 3 companies from Monroe Vanguard to the Rondon Group. I'd like to know what company type they are. Some of them are manufacturers, some of them are custom manufacturers. And more importantly, you can see 3 big paragraphs of their COVID-19 response capability. In addition to all the data points we discussed, like year found, all the firmographic data, like employee numbers, the sales revenue, and also you can, in addition to that, click the link to download each individual supplier profile summary report in case you have to share those information with your colleagues internally. So what about, all the suppliers that you went through that you really like? Say, let's use the N95 respirator example. I can just quickly click the save button and add them to the N95 respirator list, and they will all be added to my short list. Anytime you want to look for the short list, you can go to Thomas My Account on the top right-hand corner and click Supplier Shortlist. So in this example, you can see that I have 8 suppliers, and now I really want to find a way to share this or reaccess the data. So by clicking the shortlist button and navigating to the list, what you can do is something that I think is pretty powerful. So you can check all these suppliers that you handpicked that you like or you think is relevant to your procurement process, click all, and then download them all into a CSV file. So all of that, I'll emphasize it one more time. I was quite surprised when I joined this company. All of that services are free. So within the CSV files, you can see all the structured data from the company name to the URL to the states and phone number. So I'd imagine we're making it slightly easier for you to import those data into your procurement system, or just having the ability to upload this as a shared document or send it to your colleagues, and then you can annotate, make remarks about these companies. We hope this is going to help you with your procurement needs. And please do share your feedback with us. At the end of this presentation, we'll have a survey. I'd love to hear what kind of features we are going through here right now that you think are most useful to you. So, okay, that concludes the first two steps. We searched on Thomas, we evaluated and exported a list of companies that we really like. How do you connect with these companies? Well, we thought about that. You can click onto the company profile or even within the search results and click the green request quotes button, fill in a simple form, and then click submit. So our matchmaking system will send an email to the suppliers and they will respond to your RFIs. What if you want to send multiple RFIs on the platform? So for now, you can select up to 5 companies in the search results or from your shortlist. And then you can actually click the request info button. Once you're on that page, you fill in the form, you can submit to multiple suppliers in one shot. Now, we understand a lot of you during this critical period, you might be switching categories. Maybe you used to source for electronic components and now you have to look for ventilator parts. What if you're asked to find a custom part that you have never sourced before? So we thought about that and we built something even before COVID-19 to help you explore new products or parts that you need to source today. The service is called Custom Quotes. On our homepage, you will actually see that there's a request a quote button. Once you check that button and you will be taken to the custom quote page, when you click the get started button, you can fill in all the requirements, including your state, who are you, the quantity you're looking for, when do you need it by. You can actually let us know, if there's a short run project, etc. And you can even attach files such as your CAT file and NDA, and our engineers on ThomasNet, sorry, I'm too excited about this. This is a great feature. So engineers on Thomas would actually provide you for up to 5 suppliers that we think are best suited for your needs, again, all for free. So this gave you like a really good overview of the 3 things you can do in Thomas. You can search, evaluate, and connect with suppliers. To recap, what we went through is on Thomas, we have over 500,000 company profiles for you to access for free. We have structured data built into each of these profiles to save you time when it comes to the validation and evaluation process. You can use our advanced search filters to look for companies closer to you or have the right certification and statuses. You can compare suppliers, save shortlist, save multiple suppliers, export all data, and even use our free custom quote services to look for the trickier requirements that's just been landed on your desk. So that seems like quite a lot of resources, but we don't stop here. So I'm going to pass my mic to Tony. Tony will share with you additional resources that we've built for you throughout, the history of Thomas, but also particularly things that are particularly relevant during the COVID-19 pandemic. Tony.
Hey, thanks, Kath. One of the things that we've added in addition to a lot of supplier information and really advanced capabilities at comparing information is deep dive content and information that really helps people run their businesses and their careers. And this is particularly applicable right now as companies are either trying to determine, could I be a COVID-19 response supplier? Could I pivot my business? What would be the criteria? And then also help in and around some of these categories that many of us are learning about that appear to be pretty simple. Hey, how hard is it to make a mask? What goes into that? What certifications? But boy, buyer beware, supplier beware. And so as we go through the next few slides, I want to guide you to some incremental information that might be really, really helpful, particularly at this point in time. So we've talked a bit about this Thomas COVID-19 Resource Hub. And what we've done is brought together not only access to these suppliers, but also mission critical real-time information. And we update this every day. It's being updated, I should say, more than once a day. It's being updated by the hour. You can access this through thomasnet.com/COVID-19. And I mentioned before, getting a deeper dive into content and information. And inside here, you're going to find some remarkable technical guides. So these are expertly researched and written, and they're long form guides they're going to help you with sourcing. And again, for many of us, I've lost count of how many times I've used the term unprecedented times over the last 3 weeks. These are indeed unprecedented times, and many of us are out of our element here. So a bit of incremental knowledge and information about how surgical masks are made, what sort of tests should I look for, what sort of certifications. This type of information for an organization, an individual that's sourcing right now could be critically important information. And again, easily accessible, thomasnet.com/articles. All of our content and information is also distributed through our daily Thomas Industry Update email newsletter. It, along with access to the platform, is also free. We have over 300,000 and growing active subscribers, and the information and content ranges from our data and overviews of what's trending in the marketplace into some of the deeper dive content that I referenced before.
And the joke is, sorry, Tony, my mother-in-law is actually using this to pick her stock, and she is loving it right now. She said it's like super informative. So I just have to tell everyone how proud I am as a daughter-in-law.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we're helping your mother-in-law, Kath. That's great. And everything also, all of these insights that we glean, we also have on the platform. So whether you're subscribing to the daily email newsletter and or using the platform, all of our insights are easily accessible on thomasnet.com in the insight section. And that has even broader information around supply chain, manufacturing innovations, and a ton more. Easily accessible to sign up for the daily newsletter. Thomas Industry Update newsletter is available at thomasnet.com/update. And 2 other quick things before we go to questions. If you are a company that is looking for COVID product services, please let us know. Fill out the form. We can try and make you with validated suppliers that are going to match your needs, and we can help you also understand how to source looking for those folks. You can access this form at thomasnet.com/COVID-19-requests. If you are a provider, you have excess capacity, you can pivot and provide PPE equipment or services at this point in time, please, we would love to have you join the, as we speak now, it's probably over 1,500 suppliers that have done just that. You can access this form to register your company at thomasnet.com/COVID-19-contribute. And again, I'd like to emphasize that this is free for companies to register, and you can become a part of our database and part of our supplier profile here for free. With that, I want to finish off the way we started by thanking you all. I know these are just remarkable times, and we are honored to be able to provide a unique platform and service at this point in time, and to help folks find particularly critical PPE products and services and suppliers at this point. I want to thank my colleague Kathy Ma. Sean Fitzgerald is also on the webinar here, who's our Chief Marketing Officer. And we'd be happy to take some questions if people have it. And just to emphasize, you will be getting a copy of the presentation with all the resources mentioned that will be emailed to you after the presentation is over.